Hello, everybody. Happy Friday to you. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. I want to send a special shout-out to one of our loyal Patreon listeners, Teresa. She's one of our favorites out there. It's her birthday. And shout out to you, Teresa. Have a margarita on me. Go to patreon.com/Dave Neal at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, which is right when this is airing today. I'll be going live on Patreon with all the behind-the-scenes content. We have Katie Thurston responding to Nick Viall's criticism of Rachel Recchia. As we know, Nick tried to roast Katie. She clapped back. She mentioned why she blocked him. She says it's so weird that he's criticizing all these other alumni. Like, doesn't he understand the process? So I'm going to share what she said. And also, Katie Thurston, congratulations, started her live stream for the first time. She has a brand new live stream right here. And you know what? I just feel like one of those proud dads whose kid's going off on the schools. There's Samantha out there going to school for the first day on the bus. I got to tell her she's got her little lunchbox. Congratulations on your first ever YouTube live stream, which, by the way, most Bachelor alumni do Instagram live streams because it's the easiest thing to do. YouTube's much more challenging, but it's way more versatile. It's one of the largest search engines in the world. So I always recommend anybody get off of Instagram and get onto YouTube. It's the only content creating that has profit sharing. It's so anyway, when you talk about building equity and all that in your brand, this is the place to be. It's worth it, even if it takes a little while to get it going. But hey, she's already got a couple thousand subscribers. So I'm going to share what she said. She said she's sad. She said she's not ready to date. And the show kind of messed her up. We'll share those clips. I think it's so important to mental health to discuss these types of things, be frank, be open. And I feel like YouTube is way better than Instagram at sharing your honest feelings. I feel like Instagram's like filter culture. Everything's great. Toxic positivity. Look at me jump into this jacuzzi in Bali that's got all these rose petals that say happy honeymoon, even though that man and woman probably fought for 7 hours to set it all up. Too specific? Okay. Anyway, we'll get into it right now. But before I share Katie Thurston's YouTube live stream, she had this to say about Nick while she was doing her Instagram live stream.
A chill morning. Anyway, I saw what he said about her. At least I saw the TikTok.
So Katie's going to discuss what she saw that Nick said. Rachel Recchia clapped back at Nick. We shared this a few days ago. So Nick basically said she was smiling as she dumped Avon. So clearly this means she strung him along and she actually liked the other guy better. And of course, Rachel Recchia. Well, here's what Nick said.
Every breakup. Being the Bachelorette or the Bachelor is an incredibly hard position to be in. You're trying to find love for yourself with the pressures of an engagement.
So broken clock's right twice a day. He gets a few things right there, but to assume that her smile meant something, when you assume
and honestly,
you make an ass out of you and me. So let's not assume anything. She responds and said, Avon and I had a nice moment at the door after something very difficult for both of us. And then Nick goes, people want you on the podcast. And she says, all you're doing here is encouraging a space to kick me when I'm down based on assumptions. And as we know, Katie and Nick have had a feud after Katie went on Nick's podcast. And it's probably clear to say that there is no invites to each other's birthday parties at this point. All right, so here's what Katie said in response to Nick criticizing Rachel Recchia.
I don't listen to this podcast, but I heard it was like even worse on the podcast. And it's just so weird. I don't know what fucking hot take you're trying to have, bro. What's your deal? Sorry. There's my opinion. My bad. I always thought, if I ever was to do, a podcast on the show, regardless of what the lead is doing, they would 100% have, my protection and support. Because I just know what it's like behind the scenes.
All right, so there it is. She knows what it's like behind the scenes, and Nick does too, but Nick will juggle between having empathy for the contestants, knowing that what you see is not what actually happened, and at the same time sort of commodifies the drama that's on the show for his social media, TikTok, YouTube, and all that. So Nick's making a living doing what he does, which is perfectly fine, perfectly fair. I make a living do what I do. But there is a weird sort of alumni and kinship with people that have been on the show. Katie, of course, dealt with undeniable pressure and scrutiny for her season, as well as Nick did and everyone else. So that's why she's probably, and I'm not putting words in her mouth here, but that's why she's probably perplexed as to why he would be so critical of Rachel, knowing full well that it's an enviable position to be in. So anyway, Rachel says, I'm not going on your podcast. You can just kick me when I'm down. My suggestion to Rachel, when she's allowed to tell her story, is to do it on her own platform. You guys know me. I'm all about building equity. Don't rent out your time. Develop your own platform to tell your story. It used to always be about a book deal, but it can be a YouTube channel. Whatever it is, own that. Own that. Don't give your story away to somebody else, which is kind of annoying because Rachel, the lead, isn't allowed to be off contract for at least 1 year, sometimes 2, depending on if they re-up your contract like they did with Katie here. So it's interesting because Rachel's allowed to give her story to an approved podcast like Nick Viall, but she's not allowed to profit off of it. So if you watch the live stream that Katie does, I said in the comment section in jest, like, oh, tell me something interesting so I can make a video of it. And she's like, Dave, you owe me money for, and it's like, hey, yeah, how wild is it that I'm able to profit off of her story while she's not? I mean, their hands are tied under these contracts. So anyway, here's how Katie's first live stream started.
Live, guys. So if you're here, let me know in the chat. Hopefully I'm doing this right.
So you guys know me, big critical of production value for a first live stream. Starts off with a very sharp camera, good audio, nice backlighting, A+ around the board there. Again, these can be very complicated. You got cords and plugs. You guys have seen my setup. Now, the clips I'm going to share, her camera died because, it overheated. You need a special cord adapter and all that. Typical first night things that go down. So now she's on her MacBook camera. Again, it doesn't matter, but I'm just addressing why the image quality looks different here. So here's what she had to say, and I suggest giving her YouTube channel a shot. Hit the subscribe button. Check it out. This was a 90-minute live stream. It was very fascinating. She does a very good job of naturally conversing with the audience, which might sound easy, but it's very hard to talk to the camera when there's no one on the other side. And she does a very good job with that on this 90-minute live stream. Here's her discussing where she's at emotionally with regards to pursuing new relationships.
Learn how to heal within. And so, yeah, whoever said I'm not ready to date, you're right. I'm not. I will know I'm officially ready to date when I can look at a happy couple or a random proposal and just be happy for them. And I was at that point at one point in my life, during my relationship with John, during the height of it, I was very happy with him, and for random lovers on the street, I was just happy. And now I look out, so there's my windows right here, and I have no curtains right now. Now I'm just sad. If I'm being honest, I see other couples and I'm like, damn, you look happy. Good for you.
All right. She said, I'm sad if I'm being honest. Let's clip to the next part at 1 hour and 4. Again, check out the full thing. She actually discusses, she shares a lot of tea here. She talks about a relationship she was in recently that did not end the way she wanted it to, a casual relationship. And, I think this is just relatable stuff. You know what I mean? It's look, you're not going to get this from people like Tasha. She's too guarded. And, rightfully so. People don't want to share it out there. But if someone's going to tell your story, it might as well be yourself. So anyway, here's the next clip.
Whoever is sitting here, sorry, I keep hiccuping and burping. Whoever's sitting here thinking Katie, comedy? No. Bitch, I'll give you a free Netflix subscription.
Well, let's go forward here to the 10.
Because that's what the show did to me.
Oh, I missed it.
Will it happen overnight? No, you got to put in the work. And I haven't been. I've been living under a freaking rock because that's what the show did to me. The show has really fucked me up, mentally. It took a long time to really get out, and it held me back in a lot of ways. But I'm finally at a place where I feel good. I feel at peace. I feel ready. And this is why ultimately I think it's okay that I'm single. I think it's okay that things aren't working out with these guys, because it allows me to just really focus on me. It allows me to start writing. It allows me to go to these open mics, which is essentially practice.
Yeah, so it's about investing your time and energy in yourself, and that's what the show does. Like she said, it's not rare It's not rare to be talking about this. Every single person from Blake Horstman to literally every single person has had issues with the show because of the heavy scrutiny it puts you under. Will you be stronger afterwards? Yes. Is the show flying a little too close to the sun, not protecting its leads? Absolutely. Now here's what Claire Crowley said earlier this week. Do you regret being the Bachelorette? I was in one of the darkest, lowest places in my life after the show for sure, for a while. I also have a lot of PTSD from so many things that I have not shared publicly as well, but I will say the thing I pride myself on is resilience. I refuse to let anything get the best of me and keep me down. I have sourced strength from the most challenging things in my life, and because of that, I live with no regrets. So you've got people like Claire and Katie who are probably less associated with the show after their seasons. Claire has never taken a dollar, podcast-wise and all that. And then you get the other side, which is the Becca Kufrins, who is a quote-unquote company man of the show, which is fine too. Her checks don't bounce. She's got ABC, Disney cutting her checks to be on a podcast. Same thing with Michelle Young. And then you got people that are in between, like a Caitlin Bristow, who worked for the show, but also has developed her own product and brand. And then you've got people like Nick Viall, who's independent, but his source of income, the vein of which his content comes from, is pretty much directly tied to the show. So all these different sort of avenues you can sort of run into as an alumni. It'll be very fascinating to see how it all plays out. But like I said before, and I'll say it again, maybe you need to hear this out here on a Friday. If you're not happy with your job, find ways to not rent out your time. Find ways to make content you love, just like yesterday when I was up at 5 a.m. making content, because it's for me. I reap the rewards of connecting with you guys. I've got my robust Patreon. I have 250,000 views in the last 48 hours because of your loyalty, your ability to connect with me and make this a two-way conversation. So I thank you guys so much, and I hope we can be a blueprint for other people that are out there that don't want to have a 9-to-5 or a job where you're working on someone else's dime, or you're working to sort of like make someone else's dreams come true. How many people are out there working barely minimum wage jobs while your boss drives some 6-figure car? That exists out there. And let's not rent out our time. And if you have any other sort of like goals in life that are bigger than what you're doing right now, I just say Google it, put it out there, speak it out loud, and find a way to make that happen and build equity one day at a time. Even if your live stream's not as perfect as you want it to be, it's a step in the right direction, and that's how you should be doing it. Let me know what you guys think. More content coming your way. Going to be on Patreon right after this at 10:30 this morning. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye. Link in the comment section to donate to our teacher of the day, Miss Emily. Link in the comment section for our teacher of the day, Miss Emily.